There was a great frisson of excitement in the pit lane at Kirkistown as the Boss Ireland cars headed out to take their grid positions 10 minutes ahead of the 78th race for the Leinster Trophy, which was being held at the County Down circuit for the first time, in a joint promotion of the Leinster Motor Club and 500 Motor Racing Club of Ireland. The tension in the pit lane ahead of this prestigious race for a trophy that includes the names of world champions was tangible as the mechanics headed out to the final fettling in front of the start line, where the drivers talked to media and celebrities of Irish motorsport. Many cars had suffered mechanical issues during the race earlier in the day and were resolved only moments before the pit alarm sounded. This is how our grid had shaped up from Friday qualifying. From the back of the grid, that's Tom Gaughran 12th in the Radical SR8 and Roland Doherty in an F3 Dallara, as is Fergus Faherty directly ahead of him in 9th. Another sports car is Michael Connolly's Radical, 10th. The pattern continues with Eamon Matheson's Jade, 8th. And then Fergus Faherty F3 Dallara on his right. A pair of F3 Dallaras make up row 3, Noel Robinson and Michael Roche. That's the World Series Dallara of Gerard Connell on 3rd in the grid, and Aaron Gaughran's F3 in 4th. O'Connell's in pole position in the GP2 Dallara. That's Sylvie Mullins 2nd on the grid in the Judd F1 powered Gould. And here is the Leinster Trophy. Etched on it are the names of past winners, which include Formula 1 World Champions Mike Hawthorne, Ayrton da Silva, later known as Senna, and Mika Hakkinen. A lot to be thinking about on the grid.
Paul Connell, you won the race earlier today. You must feel very confident this afternoon.
I wouldn't say confident now, son, and at this moment in time you're sitting on the grid, nervous definitely. Just hoping that I can get the car to the finish as a kind of a reward for all the hard work that everyone else has done to get this car where it is. It's really been a team effort to try and understand how to operate this car. So huge thanks to my own team, the guys at Stone Motorsport and the rest of the guys come up to help and stuff. So there's kind of a responsibility there to make sure we get to the finish, and that's my number one goal, is finish. And hopefully try and finish as high as I can.
You've won the Leinster Trophy before, so you know the significance of this.
Yeah, definitely, and even the Leinster Trophy was that win was a significant part in getting the phone call to drive in Italy earlier this year as being a previous Leinster Trophy winner. It's certainly, I'm quite aware of the significance of it. Definitely, I would love to win it again. I'm going to do my best, but we have a fantastic grid of cars here. We've some great drivers, so a little bit of luck will be on my side, hopefully, and we'll see how we go.
Right, Sylvie, you got stranded earlier on today.
We did, yeah. It's cut out. We don't know why. We just don't know why. All the power went. We brought it back to the garage and it fired up again. So it's a little bit of a trial and error. And we've gone through loads of stuff and everything seems fine in it. So look, we're only hoping it was a kill switch that I clipped with my leg in the car or something. But here's hoping.
Fingers crossed it doesn't rise again.
Yeah, well, that's it. Look at it. I mean, it's a 20-minute race. We're always on the border of fuel. So once we're here, was the main thing, and get off the line and see the rest. Let the rest look after itself.
Very good. You'll mind your own business.
Look at it. If we can get off the line and then we'll see how the race unfolds. If the car's giving me trouble, I'll pull in. But if it stays going, we'll stay going.
Did you get to work on that first gear?
First gear, yeah, it's grinder. Crude way of doing it. It's still in there. It's still working. So yeah, it's holding its own. As I said the last time. To get a new gear, it takes a long time to get made, so we haven't had enough time to do that. So we're hopefully get off the line okay. It did the last time anyway, but so we'll see.
Gerard, should it not be Red Bull, no?
Yeah. Secretly it is.
Aye. Coke Zero?
Coke Zero. Has to be zero. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to this opportunity over the Leinster Trophy?
There's some hype here today, some crowds. Like some of the guys says they've never seen a crowd like this here in a long, long time.
Yeah, so it's exciting stuff. There's great atmosphere.
It is, and it's nice just to do all this too. So,
well,
happy to go.
Best of luck for the race.
Thanks very much, Sam. Thank you.
Hey Aaron.
How are you, Larry?
This might be your last time with this car for positive reasons.
Yeah, so I'm told anyway, but look, we'll see. Exactly, I think I was saying earlier, look, we'll make the best of what we have, so we'll see what we can do.
It's a very prestigious race, it's a nice one for it to do.
No, look, absolutely, I just feel blessed to be here, so look, we'll do what we can. Be nervous for this one now. I'm nervous for all of them, to be fair, but now this one's a big one, you know. Look, this is the one everyone wants to win. We're all gunning for it. So, but look, we'll do our best. That's all we can do. Sling this thing around as quick as I can.
With the long race, anything could happen, really.
Exactly. Look, to be fair, I find with this car, with the running I've done in it, I find it weaker at the start of a race, and it comes on to form the longer the race goes. That's my opinion on it. So fingers crossed I'm right, and that comes to us in the last 5 minutes. We should be fairly strong. But look, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. So the main thing is, let's get it over the line and get it finished. We'll see where we are then.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to more drivers on the grid, as it wasn't long until they were underway for their warm-up lap. All except Paul O'Connell, who had stalled. You can just see Jonathan Fildes there, who will be starting from the pit lane because he missed the qualifying sessions and suffered an electrical problem very early on in race 1. As marshals, officials and his crew dash to restart the Mechachrome engine in the GP2 Dallara, we see the drivers furiously warming their tyres on the back straight, having sat on the grid for so long. The race 1 winner is fired up again, and tyre warming begins immediately. Talk about driving like you're late for congregation. O'Connell catches up just before the final hairpin. There'll be no hanging at the back of the church though. He picks his way up to take his front pew. The lights signal the start, and O'Connell makes another poor start. Sylvie streaks out ahead, Aaron Gaughran second, Michael Roche up to third. And something has gone wrong for Gerard O'Connell in the Dallara World Series. He's rolling to a halt as Jonathan Fildes makes his start from the pit lane. Sylvie Mullins appears around Fisherman's first, with Aaron Gaughran close behind. Michael Roche is third. Paul O'Connell follows him into the chicane. Eamon Matheson is fifth. Noel Robinson sixth. Michael Connolly seventh. Out of the chicane, and Paul O'Connell slingshots past Michael Roche. He swings in behind Gaughran as the Gould spits dust in their faces. O'Connell carries his momentum past Aaron Gaughran too, into second. Noel Robinson won't be delighted to see Michael Connolly going past again. And Jonathan Fildes has started to work his way up the field, passing Roland Doherty now already. And Fergus has just passed his brother Daniel. Fildes looks past Gaughran at the exit to the hairpin. Sylvie Mullins leads lap 1 onto the start-finish straight. Paul O'Connell already back up to second place. Aaron Gaughran close behind in third. Michael Roche, Eamon Matheson. Noel Robinson briefly back ahead of Michael Connolly, but the Radical has the power for the straight. Tom Gaughran's Radical similarly outdragging the Lola of Fildes. But behind our leaders in the distance at Fisherman's, we see that he's gotten past Tom Gaughran now up to 10th position. What a thrill it is to see these cars at full tilt before they enter their braking zone. Aaron Gaughran third, Michael Roche fourth, Eamon Matheson fifth. Noel Robinson has cleared Connolly, he'll be determined to stay there. Fildes has taken the two Faherty since the chicane. Tom Gaughran is 11th and Roland Doherty 12th. As they enter lap 3, Paul O'Connell looks like he's in Sylvie Mullins' slipstream. Further back in 6th place, Noel Robinson has a good advantage over Michael Connolly, who has Fildes to contend with now. Daniel Faherty is nicely tucked in behind Fergus, and I wonder can Roland Doherty close in on Tom Gaughran as the race progresses. At Fisherman's Corner, Paul O'Connell emerges as the leader with Sylvie very, very close behind. Aaron Gaughran is third, Michael Roche fourth. Noel Robinson has a new sports car to follow. Eamon Matheson's Jade. Behind them, Jonathan Fildes passes Michael Connolly up to 7th. O'Connell leads Mullins down to the hairpin. Flames from the Judd. Gaughran's car characteristically rich, which keeping with them. Matheson using a straight line advantage over Robinson, and there's Fildes now in 7th, ahead of Michael Connolly. The Fahertys led by Fergus, Tom Gaughran and Roland Doherty. Paul O'Connell starts his first lap as the leader of this 20-minute race. Aaron Gaughran likes to run close to the pit wall, and Robinson was quite close to Matheson at the start of the straight. Fildes is closing on the two of them. In the distance at Fisherman's, Noel Robinson appears ahead of Eamon Matheson. While in the foreground, Paul O'Connell is asserting his dominance over Sylvie Mullins. Robinson newly in 5th place, as Jonathan Fildes with the 3.5 litre Lola first slipstreams Eamon Matheson and overtakes. The Jade looks flaming mad. That's a very fast lap for Paul O'Connell, 52.659 at this stage in the race. He must be carrying quite a bit of fuel for the extra 5 minutes. Just under a second off his qualifying and race 1 pace. As they cross the line, Fildes starts a manoeuvre on Robinson. As O'Connell approaches us, we see in the distance that Fildes has been successful. He's now 5th. Hopefully there'll be no mystery issues with the Gould this time. That Lola is flying now. We miss Sam Mansfield and Peter Dwyer's examples. Jonathan Fildes, whose father Ken won the Leinster Trophy back in 1972, is even making inroads on 4th place Michael Roche. Roland Doherty has settled into the race and is keeping with Tom Gaughran. The single-seater showing its cornering ability on the hairpin. It looks like Sylvie has to let Paul O'Connell go, but there's no rest with Aaron Gaughran quite close behind in 3rd place. Aaron has had a habit of finishing in 2nd place so far this year. I wonder, is it less bumpy on that line close to the wall? I think Tom is pushing for a bit of clearance from Doherty again. They're definitely further apart coming out of the hairpin this time. Lap 7 and Jonathan Fildes is caught right up with Michael Roche in 4th. He takes a tight line out of the hairpin and powers up the inside by the pit wall. Paul O'Connell mentioned that his GP2 car is actually running steel brakes, as it was in a hill climb spec when he acquired it. It does sound like he's using quite a lot of engine braking at the end of the straight, which is worrying for the opposition because that means there's probably more performance in that car. 3rd place Cochrane passes, and it's not long till Jonathan Fildes is going through. Michael Roche locks up a wheel. He doesn't give up easily. Just how far can Fildes rise in this race? The Faherty brothers are keeping quite close company with Michael Connolly in 9th and 10th position this afternoon. Roland Doherty is holding on to Tom Gaughran as Paul O'Connell catches them on lap 9. Sparks from the end plate of Sylvie Mullins' front wing. That car runs seriously low. Fildes is catching Gaughran. Michael Roche in 5th has a good margin over local driver in a similar car, Noel Robinson, who I'd say is glad to be ahead of all the sports cars after not being able to pass Michael Connolly in the last race. We were expecting Michael Connolly next after Eamon Matheson, but that's Fergus Faherty and Daniel following. The two brothers are up to 8th and 9th in their F3 Dallaras now. Michael Connolly has dropped to quite a distant 10th. Paul O'Connell on his lap 10, having now lapped Tom Gaughran and Roland Doherty. I think Fildes' approach is spurring Aaron Gaughran on. He looks a little closer to Sylvie Mullins this time. Something definitely looks up with Michael Connolly's radical there. Paul O'Connell approaches from behind. Sylvie Mullins is coming up on traffic now. Could this present opportunities for Aaron Gaughran and Jonathan Fildes? As Sylvie starts his lap 12, he safely passed Roland Doherty. Behind them, Aaron Gaughran has to move to defend his line from Jonathan Fildes. Michael Roche is ideally placed to capitalise if anything goes wrong ahead. And there's smoke or steam coming from the paddock. Is that where Michael Connolly has stopped? I hope all is okay there. Fildes, however, is definitely on fire. He goes off the tarmac and onto the old airfield concrete to pass both Cochrans. And he's up to third. Aaron has a better line and retakes his position onto the straight. They're side by side. Fildes is on the grass. He keeps the shoe in. He has a better line at the end of the start-finish straight, and he is holding the position. As they come out of the chicane, Aaron has it back again. Fildes composes himself for another attack. Aaron Gaughran really pushes the more modern chassis around the hairpin to gain back a bit of advantage. But that Lola has a lot of power on the straight. This time he moves on the far side in relation to our camera. Michael Roche begins to work his way through the back markers. Aaron said before the race that this chassis kind of comes on towards the end of the race. He's going to have to make that come true now. They're still both very much in touch with Sylvie Mullins, who will need every drop of fuel in his tank to go the full 20 minutes. The Lola not close enough to the Dallara to make a manoeuvre this time, and we note that the Radical has cooled in the pits. It actually sounds like Fildes may have a misfire. Roche has safely lapped Tom Gaughran and Roland Doherty, as Noel Robinson comes up to do so. Eamon Matheson is now 7th in the Jade. And Fergus and Daniel Faherty are now 8th and 9th, as Paul O'Connell looks untouchable. The Lola sounds okay here. I think Fildes is just on the rev limiter. Paul O'Connell brakes at the end of the straight, just as our 2nd, 3rd and 4th place drivers come out of the chicane. Jonathan Fildes is swarming around the back of Aaron Gaughran, filling his mirrors. They've closed right up on Sylvie. And look at the Lola way out to the outside. He's looking for a line to favour a high exit speed. Fildes swings to the outside, drawing Aaron off that usual line he takes close to the wall, and goes up the inside. Coming out of the chicane, and he's maintained the position. Fildes is now up to 2nd, and now appearing in Sylvie Mullins' mirrors for the first time. There's a brief point in the hairpin where the Dallara can close, but then the Lola can make use of its power and gets a great exit. It looks like he's moving on to Sylvie. Blue flag for Eamon Matheson as Paul O'Connell approaches. He lets him by. As Paul starts lap 19, look how Eamon can draft him on the straight. This is now more laps than were in the first 15-minute race in the morning. I wonder, does Sylvie literally have enough in his tank to defend the position? The gaps look consistent as second, third and fourth start their lap 19. Michael Roche is successfully maintaining his top 5 position. Noel Robinson is the highest placed Ulster driver in 6th. Just behind race leader Paul O'Connell is 7th placed Eamon Matheson. And Fergus and Daniel Faherty 8th and 9th. That third place battle does not look resolved yet. Aaron got right close to Jonathan Fildes through the chicane. And he can close right up on braking for the hairpin too. Tenth place Tom Gaughran and 11th place Roland Doherty get the blue flag as Paul O'Connell approaches for the second time in this long race. Race leader Paul O'Connell starts lap 21. He must be starting to think about lap records at this stage in the race with low fuel on board and the conditions being so good. He'll need to be free of traffic though. Sylvie Mullins, Jonathan Fildes and Aaron Gaughran look to have stabilised their positions again. Roche still pushing to the end, he deactivates his DRS as he brakes for the hairpin. Locks up a little bit. As Noel Robinson passes us 6th. It looks like there's enough road behind for Paul O'Connell to put in a flying lap in the closing stages of the race. A lap record would really vindicate his dominance. 10th place Tom Gaughran, 11th place Roland Doherty, 7th place Eamon Matheson. 2nd place Sylvie takes the bumpier line past the Fahertys in 8th and 9th. Could the traffic have an effect on the Fildes and Gaughran battle? What's that? There's yellow flags out. Digitally zooming in on our fixed camera, we see that Paul O'Connell has spun while leading the race by a massive margin. He should have enough time to turn and get started again. It doesn't look like he's hit anything. But there's no movement. He must have stalled. Sylvie Mullins goes through to take the lead. There's Jonathan Fildes now up to 2nd. Aaron Gaughran 3rd. It's yellow flag for Michael Roche as Paul O'Connell's car is parked in a very dangerous position. He gets past without incident. That moves him up to 4th. Behind him though, the flags have turned red for Noel Robinson. He moves up to 5th. As the dejected Paul O'Connell removes the steering wheel. He gets out of the car. To the best of our understanding, the race was declared over at 22 laps, the one in which Paul spun. So Sylvie Mullins wins the Leinster Trophy. Jonathan Fildes is 2nd and Aaron Gaughran is 3rd. The last lap board is displayed to Tom Gaughran and Roland Doherty and then changes to the checkered flag for Sylvie Mullins, Jonathan Fildes and Aaron Gaughran. Fergus Faherty claims 7th and Daniel Faherty 8th. There's Michael Roche, 4th overall. That'll be 2nd in the Boss 2 Championship. Paul O'Connell with some help pushes the GP2 Dallara back into the paddock. A tough moment for last year's Leinster Trophy winner. Noel Robinson's efforts earned him 5th place in the end. There's Eamon Matheson 6th. Tom Gaughran moved up to 9th, so Roland Doherty made the top 10 on his first Leinster Trophy race. Sylvie Mullins' crew wait for him stunned. They worked till 1 o'clock in the morning to get this car ready. It's now the winner of the Leinster Trophy 2021. Donald Griffin offers his congratulations to the Clare man.
Brilliant.
You can't believe that.
I can't believe that. Well, it's the misfortune of Paul. He spun, I suppose. You know, he had a great lead. But still, you have to stay going.
How's the fuel?
I don't know. I didn't even worry about it.
It's probably dry.
Probably dry. My third gear went 3 laps in, so I was short shifting. So yeah, but look, what about it? The end result is this. Brilliant.
Congratulations, that's amazing. Well
Never won it before, so.
nice.
Brilliant. I can retire now.
No, I want to see you in the next time.
Brilliant.
Jonathan, I missed you earlier on because you were so busy just getting that car back together in time for that. Well, that work paid off, didn't it?
No, it did. Robert Copeland, Sam Fairbrothers, Joe Parr, everybody involved, Stephen Kelly. It's been amazing. Everybody's been helping me, and even other drivers from other teams have been helping me try and get the yoke sorted, and it paid off today.
Started from the pit lane. Incredible. Well done.
The top 3 cars are hastily assembled in a winner's enclosure. Aaron Gaughran runs to the podium. Not as high a placing as he's been growing used to in Boss, but he looks delighted with third in this historic race. Jonathan Files made his way through the entire pack, having started in the pit lane, and Aaron Gaughran graciously offers his hand after a proper position swapping battle for that second place. Sylvie Mullins may have inherited the win in those last laps, but the effort by he and his crew just to be there make them totally deserving winners.
Well deserved. Up on the podium for the trophy.
The race for the Leinster Trophy in 2021 at Kirkistown for the first time will be well remembered.